it is. It's a bad situation. I had a friend named Jimmy who lived two apartments down from me, and he went to church, and he kept inviting me to go to Sunday school with him at a Methodist church. And that's actually the church my parents said we attended, although we never attended. They would send groups out to the neighborhood every so often, and they call on them, and we were on their list. And my mother said, "We've been too busy. We'll be coming to church. Yes, we want to start there." We had a Bible we set on the table in front of them, but we never read it, never went to church. Anyway, Jimmy kept after me. "Come to church with me, come to church with me." Finally I said, "All right, I will." And I went to Sunday school with him, is what I did. And we went to Sunday school, and we got there, and the teacher didn't show up. And so it was a boys' class, and the boys just sat around and told dirty jokes. And I said, "You know, Jimmy, I don't really need this. I mean, I got plenty of dirty jokes in the neighborhood." And he said, "Come back next week. The teacher will be here and it'll be good." Okay. So the next week I went. It was the same thing. Just sat around and told dirty stories, which weren't fun. Oh, and after the Sunday school class, everybody went across the street to the drugstore and had sodas and drinks and stuff like that. And the girls came over there for that too. But I wasn't interested in any of those girls. So 2 weeks, no teacher, dirty jokes, went across the street and bought sodas. So I told him, I said, this is not good. He said, "Well, give me a third week." So I went with him the third Sunday, and the teacher showed up. And he told dirty stories. I mean, that was it. And then we all went across the street and bought sodas. And then I thought, okay, I'm here 3 weeks now, and nobody's going to church. I'm going to go to church. So I went back over across the street to the church and attended church. They were surprised to have me there. You could tell everybody was looking at me because none of the kids ever came.
And how old were you?
A young teen, probably 13, 14. At any rate, the preacher was preaching on the Lord's Supper, and he preached a really good message. As I think of it today, it was great. He preached about not only the relationship to have in Jesus and the Lord's Supper, but if you don't have a right attitude about it, it's wrong. If you don't love one another, it's wrong. At any rate, he said, if you don't have your heart right towards the Lord, don't take. Only take it if you know the Lord and you're right for it. Okay, and then he gave an invitation for the people to come. And I'm thinking, I can't come. I don't know the Lord. I don't have a right attitude. I don't even know what the right attitude is, but I don't have it. And I thought, if I don't know Jesus, I couldn't come. And there was a little old lady sitting in my pew, and she says, go on up. I said, no. She kept pushing me. So I got up and walked around to the other side of the pew as we get away from her. And she and everybody else went up, partook of communion. And after church, she was the only one that came to me. Nobody came over and said, "We're glad to have a young person in church." She came over and put her finger right on my nose and says, You were the only person in church who didn't take communion. Shame, shame, shame. I never went back. I never went back. I didn't need what the young people had, and apparently I wasn't good enough for what the adults had. That was my experience going to church.